Okay, so I want to tell you about chlorine. Chlorine is placed in the group of halogens um, in the periodic table, and it's the 17th element in the periodic table. It's in the main group 7, so it has 7 electrons in the outer shell, and it has 3 shells, as seen here. Um, Chlorine is a very reactive nonmetal element. Chlorine has 3 different shells with 7 electrons um, in the outer one, and that gives us therefore 2 in the first, 8 in the second, and 7 in the outer one, and that gives us 17 electrons. Chlorine has 17 protons, 17 electrons, and 18 neutrons. So in the atom we have a nucleus number on 35. Chlorine would very likely gain 1 electron to be stable, with having 8 electrons in the outer shell. Then it would be a positive charged ion. Chlorine reactants and products. Okay, so chlorine reacting with some other element is often associated with reacting with sodium. They very often react because sodium has a positive charge and chlorine has a negative charge. As seen here, natrium has uh, or sodium, it can also be called. It has a positive charge, and chlorine has a minus or negative charge. And when they react together, the positive and negative charge will be balanced because it equals each other. Okay, so we can see uh, chlorine, chlorine and sodium reacting here. Yeah, so they bond together in this process. Um, and when we, example, have another reactant and product, it could be 2 phosphor and 3 chlorine. They would react together with having 2 phosphor and 6 chlorine, because you have 2 um, 2 trichlorine um, molecules. So that gives us a total of 6, but only 2 trichloride molecules because they are bonded together. And we can see a reaction when they bond together, just here. And it's basically almost the same when the natrium and chlorine is reacting together, but just for showing that we can see something is happening on the direction. Isotopes and facts. So the most common chlorine isotope is built up with a nucleus number on 35.45. So at 273 Kelvin Celsius is a gas. Its boiling process begins at 239.11 Kelvin. Its melting point begins at 171 Kelvin. So another chlorine isotope which is called chlorine 37. It has a mass on 36.9 and therefore is called 37. It has an occurrence percent on 24.22%, so it's not as much as the normal 35. So since it has a mass on around 37, the nucleus number is therefore 37. So it has 17 protons, 17 electrons, and 20 neutrons. State of matter. Chlorine is commonly found in gas state of matter. because it has a very low boiling point on 239 Kelvin, which is minus 34 Celsius. So it is not often that we find chlorine in a temperature between 171 Kelvin and 139 Kelvin, which is the state of when it will be in a liquid state of matter. So that's why it's a gas state of matter. Chemical equation: natrium plus phosphor and oxygen becomes to natrium 3 and phosphor oxygen 4. Okay, so what have we done on the product side to balance the equation compared to on the reactant side? We need to balance it with having the same amount of positive charges as negative charges. So when we have 3 negative charges on the phosphor side, on the reactant, we also need to have 3 positive charges on the natrium on the reactant side. So on the product side, here we have just set 3 natrium atoms together to make them bond, and then we have a natrium molecule where there now is 3 positive charges and 3 negative charges, as over here on the oxygen side, as seen here. And then we have a balanced equation where there's no charge anymore. Chlorine ions: simple ion and polyatomic ion. A simple ion is an atom with a charge. So in this case, when I have about chlorine, then it would be chlorine or Cl minus, and it's normal for it to have a negative charge. A polyatomic ion is a group of atoms that is bonded together and either has a positive or negative charge. So in this case, it would be carbon nitrogen minus. Chlorine used in the daily life. What is chlorine used for? We use chlorine every day in our table salt. We do also use a lot of chlorine in public toilets and pools. We do that because chlorine is good at disinfecting unhygienic places, so we don't get infected when we go to the toilet or bathroom. We also use chlorine a lot at our normal house, because chlorine is very good at bleaching. Example, if your white t-shirt gets a stain, you can buy chlorine and then put some on the stain, and it will be gone. So that was it. Thank you for listening.